Wowie, do we have so much to talk about with night 4 and morning 5 of the Big Brother 26 feeds? A lot to talk about because Angela, the HOH, has spiraled. Yesterday I talked about how it did seem that the TV in the HOH room was starting to make her paranoid, even though at that time, on night 3, when we first got feed, she did still have a good read on the game. But since nominations, she has completely fallen apart. And we will get to that and the fight on morning 5 for breakfast with Angela later on in this video. Let's first circle back to the nominations. I touched upon this a little bit last night. That she nominated Kenny, Chemo, and Lisa, with her target at the time being Kenny. The good of her nominations, and kind of playing it safe, is that with the twist, there are going to be two chances for people to be safe. So you're getting all this blood on your hands. Do you really want to go after a big threat or a big competitor? With there being this twist for now that hopefully goes away after 4 weeks, that you get three nominations, and there will be, after veto, there's still 3 nominations, and then there will be a competition where one more person can save themselves, come down. You know, putting a threat, especially a physical threat, knowing how Big Brother competitions usually are, where the physical threats win them all the time, I can see why Angela would want to take the safe route in that and maybe not put up Matt in that scenario, even though I feel like Angela this whole time since feeds have been on has been very anti-Matt and feeling that Matt is trying to run the game. So with that twist, I understand the logic in Angela's mind of why her nomination seems so safe and she's just going after Kenny. However, the bad side of playing it safe is that she's feeling that Matt is kind of doing all this, which he is doing a lot for sure. She had Chelsea come up to her and tell her about Mackenzie talking all this shit about Angela and how she's a threat. And she knows that Matt and Mackenzie are very close because they spent a ton of time together. But now that she's made these safe noms, she's feeling all this heat about Matt still, and she's spiraling because of it. Because she's not actually going after who she feels in her gut should be her main target, and that is Matt. We're going to circle back to Angela, of course, because we got a lot to talk about with Angela. We're going to talk about Mackenzie and Matt a little more, though, to kind of depict the other side of things that are happening. We have this closeness, which a lot of people are seeing as a potential showmance between Matt and Mackenzie. The players see that because it could obviously happen sooner rather than later. They also, however, have become more and more close with Leah over the past 24 hours. Now, when the feeds first came on, Mackenzie was very paranoid where Leah was concerned because she felt like Leah might go to Angela and tell Angela all of the crap that Mackenzie had been talking about Angela, that Angela is a threat. Plus, Matt, as I talked about in my last video yesterday, was going around talking about all the people who tried to make final 2s and final 3s with him, and Leah was one of the people that he ratted out to Quinn, of all people, that there was this final 3 with Leah. So after that, though, they continued to be close with Leah. So close, in fact, that Mackenzie decides to tell Matt and Leah about her power. And Mackenzie, aka MJ, I keep calling her Mackenzie. I don't know if to call her Mackenzie or MJ. To me, she's Mackenzie. She tells them that she has the power of America's veto, and it seems as though the veto is that she can use this veto to save someone on the block, and then America has to make and vote for the renom. Now, in telling this to them, she made it seem like this could even work on a renom. Like somebody could come off the block from a regular veto, there could be a renom, and then MJ can use her veto to save them too. I don't know if that's true or not. I guess we'll have to see. Not sure how the veto and voting actually works, because obviously on feeds, we'll have feeds after the veto ceremony where that veto is used. But will voting start then, or will voting not start until the end of a Wednesday episode, and then the nominee doesn't even know they're nominated until Thursday night, which is kind of unfair. But I wouldn't like that, honestly. I hope it is somehow there's a vote before Wednesday's episode airs, but we'll see how that all plays out. My thing about these three, and I know a lot of people like Leah online, I guess, and I don't dislike her. I like her personality. She's not doing a very good job of being social. Like, clearly Matt and Mackenzie are close, and Leah's spending a lot of time with them, which is making Leah miss opportunities to form one of these several other alliances that are forming. And now, in week one, to me, it's hard to take any of these alliances seriously. I am not seeing any of these alliances as solid outside of maybe the trio of Chelsea, Cam, and Cedric. I think those three so far to me seem like the realest connection, because I have seen them bring info back to each other at least once. And the other alliances are so big that it's hard to take them seriously right now, honestly. But where this little trio is concerned of Mackenzie, Matt, and Leah, it's kind of just the dumb leading the dumb. You have Matt, who has gone around not being able to shut up and ratting out his own final twos and final threes, or at least people that are trying to make these final twos and final threes with him. Just not smart. Mackenzie already revealing her power to Leah, even though just 24 hours before she felt most paranoid about Leah. Yeah, it's just not a lot of logic there. And Leah, to me, proved that even though I don't think she's a real blonde, her brain is blonde, because during the preseason, during her little interview, we saw her answer that question about which house guest is she going to play like, and it didn't click to her that the question was about past house guests. She thought she was thinking the question was about the current house guest she hasn't even met yet. So in that instance, when we all thought she was this big recruit because of that answer, it proved to me that she's kind of a dumb blonde, even if her blonde hair is fake. So that trio, it's not looking hot. It's not looking cute for them, especially when you have Matt. The thing that cracked me up most about that conversation is Matt saying that Chelsea, what was the exact quote? I think I wrote it down somewhere in here. That Chelsea doesn't have enough game to be in this room with them when they were trying to think about who to bring into an alliance. When Chelsea is the game right now, to me, Chelsea is playing the best game. She has a lot of influence on even some of the other level-headed house guests. And there's not a whole lot of level-headed house guests right now, to me. There's a lot of paranoia in that house. With it being the first week, I don't think their nerves have settled down to be able to focus. To me, the only people that actually have level heads would be Chelsea, Quinn, Cedric, and Cam. Maybe Rupina. I don't think she's actually going around being crazy yet either. But of those five, Chelsea has the most influence. Even Joseph, who I would consider being a level head, needs to talk to Chelsea sometimes to get back on a clear path, which maybe we'll touch upon here in a second. But yeah, Matt saying that about Chelsea shows me how out of touch he truly is with where the game is standing right now and filling people out. He talked about a lot in preseason, which is why I liked his answers, that he wanted to make these connections with people on a personal level. And while I think he is trying to do that, he's certainly doing it better on a personal level than on a game level. But he's not seeing people as, like, help in this game outside of, to me, Mackenzie. Like, that's the only person I feel like Matt truly is trying to work with right now. He sees everyone else as expendable, which, fair, you gotta beat everybody out. But this early in the game, you need to have some actual game connections. Not everything can be personal connections, especially when it's a player like Matt who's going around just talking nonsense sometimes, like telling people that you shouldn't win a veto for other people. Like if you win a veto, you shouldn't take somebody off. Like they need to earn the veto themselves, which is like, okay, you're like this big competitor, whatever. But he's saying this to Kenny, who's on the block and supposed to be a potential ally. Like, dumb, of course. Matt is proving to be one of the dumber players in the house, which I don't dislike him yet. He's not one of my favorites like I thought he would be, but he's a part of good TV, which we will get to. Let's kind of circle back to Angela, I guess, but we also need to talk about Lisa, because I said Lisa was spiraling last night when she got nominated, and she was. And I think Lisa played a part in Angela's gigantic spiral and paranoia, because Lisa was so upset after being nommed. Angela tried to console her and tell her she was just a pawn. And when Lisa refused a hug from Angela, I think that is what truly was like the pin in coming out of the grenade of the paranoia of Angela's, because she was appalled that Lisa wouldn't hug her. And of course Lisa doesn't want to hug the person that just put her on the block in kind of a blindside. That's another thing that was wrong with Angela's nominations, is that it was kind of a blindside to people. She did not go around and tell people that they're pawns beforehand. I feel like maybe Chemo kind of knew he was, maybe, that the potential was there. Lisa did not suspect a thing. And even Kenny felt like he and Angela were on a pretty good relationship before she went HOH and before we got to see the feeds. Kenny felt like they had a connection because they're older. And then she goes and blindsides Lisa and Kenny with the nominations, which I'm all for, because it makes for better feeds as we see the chaos is ensuing. But what Lisa has done is go around and have one-on-ones, or try to have one-on-ones with the entire house, which I can't hate her for. She is, working her game, trying to save her ass if she stays on the block when voting comes. Usually people don't go this extreme when they're first nominated, which I think is the drawback of her doing this, is that it has made people feel some kind of way about her, because they feel like she's going around telling everyone the same thing, which is not a great pitch, that, hey, I can be useful in this game, don't count me out. There's even a veiled threat in that sometimes from Lisa, in my opinion. So yeah, I feel like Lisa went too far, which is why I felt she was spiraling after being nominated. She was an emotional mess, crying in the bathroom, in the literal toilet with T-Core at one point. So yeah, Lisa doing a lot after being nominated. She's feeling the spiral. But somehow the HOH is spiraling more than anybody in the house. I don't know what's been happening the past few seasons with HOHs the first few weeks of the game, or the first half of the game. It makes for good feeds sometimes, though, when they are constantly spiraling with paranoia. This happened last season. This happened with Frenchie. I think it even happened a lot in Big Brother 24 with old ugly hair Daniel. I think that was his name. I forget people's names from Big Brother 24 for some reason. But it's happening again now with Angela. I don't know if it's the mold from the ceiling tile in the HOH room that they never seem to take out. That is like the fumes coming down, making people extra paranoid. But Angela is certainly paranoid. Now, the thing, I still find Angela to be good TV. And yesterday I said she was doing a good job as HOH for the most part because of the twist. No longer feel that way because of all of this paranoia. And crying, the big thing for me. I hate when an HOH is HOH and has to make these decisions. And then is like, oh, woe was me. I'm HOH. I had to put people on the block. Like, that's the literal game. So why are you crying about it all night long? Didn't like that from Angela. The crying and the victim mentality that you're HOH, the competition, you went out of your way to win, does nothing for me. It just annoys me. But it does make her still good feeds for being this paranoid mess that she became. So like I said about the lack of hug with Lisa, I think was the first thing that caused Angela's paranoia, because it was after that she started to think of Lisa as this big threat, and Lisa's going to get her revenge on Angela. And she's thinking this because she thinks Lisa has a power. And after Lisa had her one-on-one with Matt, Lisa came back smiling, and then Angela had this talk with Matt where Matt said that he would vote out Kenny over Lisa. And I don't know if Matt was just talking just to talk or if he actually meant that. I don't think he actually meant that. I think he was just talking just to talk, because Matt he talks so much that he talks in circles. That confused Angela and made her think that Lisa had a power, and Lisa was able to use her power, or the fact that she has the power to take Matt away from Kenny and turn Matt on Kenny. And so she started to go around the whole house freaking out that maybe Lisa should be the target over Kenny because she has a power. But then she sees all these other people talking to Matt and starts to think they're all turning against her. And that even some of the people that she felt closest with, like Joseph, is being talked to by Matt and being pulled over to Matt and away from Angela. Which some of that not necessarily untrue. I do feel like Joseph was trying to, I don't think he was trying to play both sides, but he was trying to bring Matt and Angela together for some reason. I think a lot of that has to do with Angela's lack of being able to make an alliance happen, because usually the first HOH kind of tries to dictate this big alliance. And Lisa was going around talking about a group that she wants to get together, but never actually formally tried to form that group, and also kept changing people in and out of who should be in that alliance. I don't know if that is the super fan conundrum, where you're such a super fan that you know what should and should not happen. You know that you shouldn't create this big alliance because it's not going to work out, but you also know you need numbers for your first target to go home. Maybe that has played a part in a lot of Angela's paranoia as well, is the overthinking. And I think that overthinking has led to a complete lack of sleep for her since she's been HOH. And just adding to this manic paranoia that has spiraled over the past 20 hours, to say the least. So yeah, she's going to people like Joseph and saying that she knows they're turning on her, which is wild to me. Another thing that she did was go to Matt and just basically try to get out of him exactly who he's working with, straight up, which I think is again why Matt just kind of talked in circles to her, because she was being aggressive in that conversation with Matt, which will play a part in this argument coming up, which I'll talk about soon. But what goes and happens after Angela's spiraling all night is around 11 or midnight, we have Joseph and Chelsea talking to each other again. Quinn's also involved with that. But like I said earlier, I feel like Chelsea is a voice of reason that a lot of people are listening to right now, because she is so level-headed and logical that even people like Joseph, who I think are also trying to be level-headed and logical, kind of need Chelsea as a sounding board. And it gets through to Joseph that he cannot bring Angela and Matt together. That is a lost cause. And so yet another possible alliance forms. I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but it's called the Collective, that Quinn names, and I believe it's with, or supposed to be with, Joseph, Chelsea, Quinn, Cedric, Cam, T-Core, Chemo, and Angela herself, with the possibility of even bringing in Kenny as a number for votes this week and next week. Still a lot of people, still a big alliance. I like how hard Joseph seems to fight for T-Core and Chemo, because it's not all the time that players in this game, specifically in recent seasons, see that the people who are clearly kind of on the outs or are clearly on the bottom can be a number for you. And I think Joseph sees that with T-Core and Chemo. That Chemo's on the block because he doesn't have a lot of strong connections, and that T-Core is kind of his only strong connection. But also, I think Joseph shares a room with them, so he kind of sees that he likes them as people. But I do want to give Joseph credit for that, because it doesn't happen often enough that people kind of on the outs can be numbers for you. Quinn and Joseph, and I think even Cedric, go to Angela and tell her about this new potential alliance, which she seems to love. And it seems like after that, she's going to try and get some sleep. Her and Quinn gives her even more information. Quinn says that she's his number one. I don't believe Quinn. I think Quinn is going to have a lot of number ones in this game, because he is coming across as very likable. And, I talked my shit about the nerd archetype and how I usually don't like them. But Quinn is, for now, winning me over. And I guess for now, I will have to suffer through the big brother nerd archetype with Quinn, because I do think he is playing very well. He also has that power that Lisa doesn't have, and he knows that Angela thinks Lisa has that power when she can't have it, because he and Lisa moved in on the same night, I believe. So Quinn is withholding information from Angela, which, if he has the I already forgot what it was called, the secret HOH. I don't know exactly what that power is, but I assume it's probably more lethal if it's a secret. So he needs to continue to keep that a secret. And if he does continue to keep that a secret, I will continue to give Quinn credit. I think Quinn is doing a very good job socially, so I have to give him credit for that. Anyway, finally, let's get to Angela's drama this morning. So she goes to bed, but clearly early in the morning, between 5 and 6, she cannot sleep. She is kind of spiraling again and kind of going all over all these scenarios in her head. Her paranoia is still on a high, thinking the guys are forming an alliance together.
A secret alliance of all guys. Perfectly planned. Quiet space, alone, middle of the night.
And she needs to think about that. She then thinks, she needs to do something to call out Matt to make sure he can't form any more connections. She starts going over what she needs to say.
And those who came to visit me last night, your performances were great for a low-budget movie.
She wants to call out Matt, which she eventually does after all of this practice in the HOH room at 6 in the morning, going over exactly what she thinks needs to be said to Matt. So at 8 o'clock in the morning, when the whole house is up, either having breakfast or doing their hair and makeup, down comes Angela. At first, to some applause. I don't know exactly why. I don't know if they thought she had information on the veto, or if they were just clapping for her because she's the HOH coming down the stairs. But she immediately launches her attack onto Matt.
Matt.
What did you do?
You must be so proud of yourself. I mean, really, taking advantage of this situation.
A lot of vitriol, a lot of saying that Matt was aggressive towards her in a conversation with a threat, really trying to turn the house against Matt, calling him crazy eyes. Which he does have crazy eyes, but the irony is not lost on me that she's calling Matt crazy eyes as she's being crazy at 8 o'clock in the morning over breakfast.
You have freaking crazy eyes. I'm not even able to remember sentences and the sentences that are being said right in front of my face. I can't remember shit because I'm so sleep deprived. That's it. I blame myself. I love all of you. I really, truly, truly do. And I was having the best time of my life up until after everyone left my room, after I won HOH. But with that being said, I would love for the house guests to know how Crazy Eyes, how he very aggressively, Matt, threatened me verbally in my room on our one-on-one. This man right here that you guys all know and love, this cocky, crazy-eyed boy who says he's got everyone in his back pocket. Oh, yeah. You know you did.
The one line that everyone is saying that was great is that she tells Matt, your words are shit, so stick them right up your ass, or stick them back up your ass, which was a great, iconic line. I think the part that rubbed me the wrong way was not the crazy eyes. Matt does have crazy eyes. That's something I would say to Matt, probably. But calling Matt aggressive, I think, was a touch too far, especially when she was the aggressor in that conversation with Matt. I don't like when the aggressive word gets thrown around towards a male, specifically if they're POC, which Matt is half POC, but I don't know. I thought that was a low blow from Angela, but whatever. It's giving me the fights that I want. I hope this sets a precedent for the season. She also called out the Matt and Mackenzie Showmance, saying that Mackenzie could do better, which sent Mackenzie into tears because she doesn't know why she's being dragged into this, even though she should know why. So yeah, I am enjoying that we already have a fight 5 days into this thing. Did it work? Did it turn people against Matt? I think Matt was already doing a good job of that. I'm wondering how this actually makes people feel about Angela as a potential ally in the game, because if she's already this crazy, when she still has some power as HOH, imagine her after veto, when she has no more power as HOH. Imagine her next week when she's not the HOH anymore. I think she's hurting her own game here as well as hurting Matt's game. It did seem to work on Tucker, T-Core, and Chemo, who had a conversation afterwards talking about how they thought that she was probably right in the thing she was saying about Matt. When Angela came down the stairs, kind of get closer to Matt, Matt did stand up. Chemo saw that as aggressive. I didn't. Matt was trying to defend himself. It's not like he got right in her face and was screaming at her. Matt was very respectful the entire time. And as fake deep as I think Matt tries to be, I think he has been respectful this whole time. I mean, he talks shit about people like everyone does. Like, he talks shit about that Chelsea doesn't have enough game to be in this room. That is shit talking on a game level. He's dead wrong in that, but I mean, he has a right to talk shit. I don't think he's been aggressive with anyone. He just has crazy eyes. But Angela looked crazy coming down the stairs. And Lisa also has crazy eyes, and she's been spiraling too. So, to be fair, I'll call fair as is fair, though, with that. Some last notes. I didn't touch upon Tucker being hangry on Slop last night. At one point, I said I was hoping Tucker and T-Core could form this little duo, and then he went on a rant about T-Core and Lisa, kind of saying some mean things about them, but he also said he was just hangry. So I don't know where Tucker stands with anyone. He's going around saying he doesn't want to be in an alliance yet. Granted, I get it, because this first week, I take all of these alliances with a grain of salt. So I can't fault him for that. But I don't know if he's actively trying to actually form a connection with anyone, which is different, we'll say. I gave Chelsea the credit where I feel like she might be playing the best game, socially especially, because her words has a lot of weight right now. And she's doing this without having any power this week because her game was downgraded. I think Cedric deserves some big ups for that as well. I think Cedric also has a good social game. He's the youngest in the house and also one of the most logical people. I don't know if I named him as one of my logical people earlier, but throw Cedric into that as well. He's actually one of my favorites so far, is Cedric. At first he was busting into rooms a little too aggressively. Last night when Mackenzie, Matt, and Leah are talking, he's knocking awkwardly to get into the room. and then they don't let him in, which is of course sus and just bad gameplay from Matt, Mackenzie, and Leah. But yeah, Cedric also doing very well. So I want to give Cedric credit where credit is due, because he too has been downgraded. He can't vote this week. He can't play for veto, but he's playing great socially. So Chelsea and Cedric, loving what I'm seeing from them. Quinn's playing a good job, good game too. Joseph is as well. He has the tendency to maybe try and do too much, I see from him. But if he keeps Chelsea as a sounding board, I think that's going to work well for him. But the big news, of course, Matt's playing a terrible game, and it's catching up to him. But now Angela has been spiraling for 20 hours straight almost. And I don't know how that has affected her game. I think we won't actually find out until after the veto ceremony, when she no longer has power. As for all these alliances, I take them with a grain of salt for now. We'll see next week how that is playing out. As I'm recording this, they're picking for veto, so I don't know who's playing in the veto. If the veto is short, I'll update again later tonight, but the likelihood is that I will update again tomorrow at some point, and I hope the feed stays spicy, because right now, it's off to a good start this season.